Hello everyone, I haven't been able to record for quite a while. There has been a lot of developments in my country and I have been busy also with some of the things as well, and unfortunately I had to kind of take a step back from my YouTube channel. But I do intend to make more videos and hopefully make them more often as well. Today I want to talk about the UFC 311. I don't want you to think that I only talk about the fights or the cards which involve the Georgian fighters, but this one I actually wanted to address because it's kind of a big one, and there's a lot of things are involved in this as well. So I think it's a good fight to talk about and a good card to talk about as well. I'm here in the sunny Achara, Georgia. Kind of taking a little bit of a break from everyday life, and let's discuss the UFC 311, particularly this time Merab Dvalishvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov. Okay, so this is the fight that probably not supposed to happen in January because it's quite a fast turnaround for a champion, as you may imagine, and oftentimes champions are given a bit more time and a bit more things are on their terms rather than on the challenger's terms. But this time around it was a bit different. I don't think I have seen many times a fight where champ was being pressured as hard as Merab is being or was being pressured to take this fight as soon as possible against Umar Nurmagomedov, as if to say that okay, let's try to have the title change hands as soon as possible so we can kind of move on. I don't know what they're moving on from, but this is how it felt, at least to me. So Umar said that he can't fight during March or February because it's a religious period for them, Ramadan, and he has his obligations to fast and etc. So he cannot, I don't know how it is true, whether he cannot prepare or he can fight during those times, but it's one of those situations basically. And he instead proposed the January date. This was well proposed before the actual acceptance of the fight by Merab. He kind of threw out this date and claimed that let's fight in January because later on I cannot fight anymore. And I guess he also later on didn't want to fight. He would have to fight against a different opponent during December or January, and then later on he would have to go up against Merab Dvalishvili, right? But again, this fight materialized against the champion for the title. And why this date is actually quite significant, right? As everybody knows, in December, it's a very holiday season for a lot of the Western countries. On the 25th of December, we obviously have the Western countries Christmas for a lot of the Christians. For Orthodox Christians, it's 7th of January, but it's kind of like a season as well. On the 31st, at night, on the 1st of January, it's obviously New Year's. On the 31st, it's a New Year's Eve. On the 10th of January, as some of you may know, is the birthday of Merab as well. So Umar, being from Russia, even though he's Muslim, Russia is a majority Christian country, Orthodox Christian, and this is when 7th of January is when also a lot of the Russians celebrate Christmas as well. And on the 14th of January, there is like a New Year with the old calendar that kind of also in a way is celebrated by a lot of Russians as well. So he out of all people should know that that's a very holiday season for a lot of Orthodox Christians and Christians alike. And also it's a big fast as well. I don't know if Merab is fasting or not, but it's also a fasting period. Very long fasting period for until the 7th of January. So to throw it out there that Merab to fight on those days, it's a big sacrifice for him as well. So for the champion to be making the sacrifices and the challenger to be kind of requesting a special treatment, it's not a great look, if you ask me. So let's discuss the fight and whether or not Umar actually deserved this fight, and then also we can discuss his chances in the fight as well. Okay, as far as deserve goes, I will just touch it once. I haven't talked about it before, and I will leave it at that. Again, it's very hard to say who deserves what in the UFC because a lot of things are being done according to the stature of the fighters in the UFC, and let's kind of use Ilya to put as a baseline because Umar threw it out there. I think it was Umar or one of Umar's teammates where that Merab was not crying too much when Ilya got his shot without actually deserving it. First of all, I think Ilya has proven himself now already, but it's besides the point. Okay, let's discuss this as if we haven't seen Ilya fight for the title yet. He fought Bryce Mitchell, and he fought then afterwards, right before the title shot, Josh Emmett. Okay, Bryce Mitchell was undefeated guy, was in the UFC, winning fights in the UFC, one of the top prospects. He destroyed him on the feet and finished him on the ground. Okay, he handed him his first loss. Second fight, he is one of the top contenders and a very dangerous also stylistically fight against Josh Emmett. He completely annihilated the guy. I mean, it was not a finish, but I mean, if it's me, I'd rather get knocked out in whichever round you want to say than get completely outclassed in every area like that. Okay, I think it was one of the scorecards was 50-42 or something like that. Complete domination where you state that you are levels above your opposition. Obviously undefeated, obviously two markets behind him, very popular, marketable guy. So yes, of course, UFC will kind of push you into those situations. And this proves as well that UFC understands really well that just because you win the title, because you're placed into the title, that doesn't mean that you are actually a guy who can run for everybody else. And I think this is what's happening with Umar as well, that anybody on a given night, especially in the top 10, can win the fight for the title. And Umar is being fast-tracked because, again, stylistically, he is a good matchup. I mean, doesn't mean that he is going to win, but he has quite a bit of skills to pose challenge to Merab Dvalishvili, and they didn't want to ruin that with possibly putting him with somebody else and him being defeated by somebody else. Okay, not that necessarily he would be defeated, but they don't want to risk it. And they placed him into this title shot with the hopes, I don't know what they actually hope, but potentially with hopes that he can defeat Merab and maybe serve as a better cash cow in terms of the Middle Eastern market than Merab serves, because Merab, according to the UFC, the view it probably is not a big draw, even though it has been kind of been disproven lately because Merab is becoming quite popular. So let's look at Umar's last 2 wins. Okay, one he had against a guy who is, I don't know even if he has fought since then in the UFC, a guy from Kazakhstan, and this was his debut fight, even though he was undefeated. That's not a big name, and he still has to prove himself quite a bit in the UFC. Okay. On the other hand, he fought against a very good fighter in Corey Sandhagen. And Corey is definitely a good win, but even out of the wins that he could have gotten, probably one of the best stylistic matchups, even though he struggled to kind of deal with Corey, Umar, and especially in the wrestling department where he had a hard time taking him down, hard time controlling him. So yes, this gives credit to Corey for being really well prepared, but on the other hand, also kind of discredits a guy like Umar, who was supposed to have an easier time at least in the wrestling department. Okay, there was always a chance for Corey to land some type of a shot and knock out Umar, but more or less in the wrestling department, it was expected that Umar would have a better shot, just a better performance all around, but he did not. But again, as I said, I don't want to take away anything from Corey Sandhagen's preparation and fight, but also you have to also take discredit perhaps Umar, because when you're going up against the guy who has had problems against wrestlers in the past, and stylistically, if you have to say that's his biggest weakness, he could not fully capitalize on something like that. Okay, so all in all, I think Umar's even last two wins pale in comparisons, especially performance-wise, against somebody like Ilya. Okay, so I think that argument is void. If it was me, and again, I'm being 100% honest, okay, and I'm trying to not to be biased here, I would put Umar against somebody like Petr Yan before Merab's fight. I understand that Figueiredo and Yan fought, so maybe I would take Yan or Figueiredo before their fight and putting them with Umar, or even Song Yudong. But I mean, Song Yudong lost to Petr Yan, so it would make sense for them to have title eliminator. And if he had wanted to, or at least get a clear win against Yan Umar, then no argument there. He should be next in line for the title. Okay, now let's discuss the fight itself. Okay, the fight stylistically, if you look at it, it should be a tough fight for Merab because he has good striking. As I understand, he's more of a striking background guy, but has good wrestling as well. And Merab is not known for his refined striking, and he's known as a wrestler. Okay, so if everything, like if MMA math works, which it does not, as we know, then Merab should have a hard time taking him down, and he should get outstruck by Umar on the feet. But if anybody looked at Yan versus Merab the same way, then you would have to also think that that's exactly what's going to happen in Yan versus Merab fight, right? A great striker, high-level boxer. I like him better as a striker than Umar. I think you put them in a kickboxing match, I think Yan would beat Umar in a kickboxing fight. Okay. In MMA striking is a bit different because when there's like a threat of a takedown, kind of changes things. But Yan also has great takedown defense, and in the past he has demonstrated great takedowns, great takedown defense, great scrambling ability, very hard to control. Only time really he got controlled was by Aljo when he took the back with a triangle, and it's very hard to get out. And he specifically hasn't spent enough time apparently in those positions to know how to get out. This is why it's important to know to spend time in a lot of those ground use positions as well. And this is the only time he actually got controlled. Besides that, it's very hard to take him down. It's very hard to control Piotr Yan, and he has very damaging strikes and attacks on its own. And Merab completely ran through him. Okay, Merab also ran through him on the feet because this is not a kickboxing match. Okay, this is wrestling, clinch work, striking, disengagement, takedown defense. Everything is mixed up in those stand-up positions, and this is where usually Merab has demonstrated that this is where he shines. Also, somebody like Merab needs great cardio to fight the style he fights and fight the pace he fights, and this is why if it goes to decision, I see Merab winning this fight. Only way that I see Umar actually beating Merab, and that this is, again, we work with probabilities here, and the only way I see him beating Merab is actually catching him with something, okay, or in something. Whether it's going to be a submission or perhaps knockout or TKO. Other than that, I think overall Umar will have problems with Merab's pace and Merab's wrestling. I see Merab being a better wrestler in this fight. So remains to be seen, but I think Merab will have more tools in the wrestling area and also have a better cardio than Umar as well. So remains to be seen. But again, Merab has been caught in submissions before, not finished, but he has left his neck out. But I think he has been working really hard lately. He has been working a lot on his grappling and jiu-jitsu, and I think that this time around he's much more aware of those positions and of those situations, and it's going to be much harder for Umar to capitalize and actually catch Merab as well. So this is how I see all in all the fight going, and I'll have more thoughts about the card coming up in the future, and I'll post overall breakdown of the full card and predictions as well.